Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason, where today we're going to be taking a look at a game that was played quite recently here on a map that we don't take a look at all too often. It's a map that goes by the name of Tundra Continents. Version 2.3.1 is what the map is currently on, and today spawning as our Cortex leader, a commander that goes by the name of Baby Punji. Baby Punji at 38.38 open skill. This is maybe the fourth time I've tried to do this intro, so we're just going to roll with it here. Going to be spawning as the core commander right up front and going into, it looks like maybe some naval units. We might actually see a little bit of a rush onto the land here. I'll be curious to see what our blue commander goes for. Spawning on the other side, right in lane here with the blue commander, it's our red team leader. A core comm getting their feet wet here, spawning at the bottom of the ocean, that goes by the name of Arabi. Arabi at 35.69, not Arby's, but Arabi, A-R-E-B-E-E. Go ahead and toggle on the menus here now, and you can see RB here going to be the red team leader. A little bit of a learner's match here today, as we have up in the 30s and almost 40s here for the top leaders, and down as low as 5 and 7 for the bottom dogs here on the blue and red team, respectively. Now this map, I'll go ahead and zoom all the way out here as we take a look at it. This map is wild. This map has tons of different access lanes. It's one of the few maps where hovercraft make a lot of sense. As you can see on this right-hand side here, I'll go ahead and highlight some things. On this right-hand side, there's this big cove. Oftentimes, this turns into a really contested point right here because there's a lot of angles to attack from this side. You can kind of come around either of these sides or push along this angle and then down this way. And then once you set up static defenses, they can fire out into the ocean from either of these two angles, which means that controlling this entire right-hand side of the map is super useful for the red team. For the blue team, it's not so easy because they don't really have a cove like that. Those mexes, they don't really exist in the same way. They're protected by this reef right here, which means you can get static defenses to fire at them, but they have to fight across this giant mountain range in order to get over here. And then once they're here, there's not really very many angles. They can sort of leak out this way or leak out this way, but either of those are going to leak into enemy defenses. So I would say if this map is Imba, then it's Imba towards the southern side ever so slightly. However, it does also mean that we do see very aggressive plays to counteract that, just like we can see here from Baby Punji, the blue commander, who's gone ahead and just walked forward to go ahead and build a vehicle lab. Nicely done. Now, we do have a constructor that was purchased right here, I believe, from one of the teammates, handed on over so that we can claim these metal extractors on the island and eventually on the sea here as well, as we start to pump out some units on the land. We'll be going for a constructor right here, which is not a bad idea, but we do need the energy to sustain it. Tidal speed is abysmal on this naval map, which always sucks, but it does mean that those land-based units, or those land-based commanders, rather, have a huge and important job of supplying a lot of energy to the team in the form of wind turbines all over the place here. Overflowing energy at 16 wind speed is very, very doable, very likely here. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Maybe just a couple of idle cons building wind turbines and then just maybe even handing them off to teammates just to allow the naval players all the energy that you need in order to contest everything. Here we go. We do have those hovercraft, by the way. Our purple commander here looks like Evil Steady 888 will be the commander going ahead and building some of those Cortex hovercrafts, and we are indeed going for a halberd. Very powerful unit, but 13,000 energy to produce one of these, so I doubt we're going to see this finish up anytime soon, because at this point, we only have 100 energy per second, and that number's not really climbing very fast. We have tidal generators coming up, but those, of course, take energy as well. Getting your eco going in this map particularly is very, very difficult here. You can see we've stopped to build some tidal generators all along the way right here, but the red commander, RB, basically wants to get onto the land as fast as possible, of course to contest with those bots, but also to build some of those wind turbines, reclaim some of the trees, get into some of that better, a little bit more efficient energy production. But alright, we've settled into a lovely little game right here. Looks like Baby Punji has been handed off a heavy transport, so he has moved the commander. He or she has moved the commander forward and is now setting up a little LLT wall to make sure the red comm can't just walk forward. We have thugs now marching out of the laboratory, slowly but surely coming up here, and we will eventually see some wind turbines built by the constructor back here. I wouldn't even really mind like solar panels on this map with the tidal speed as low as 15. Yeah, honestly, I think solar panels are probably pretty good. Somebody can do the math on that, but I'm pretty sure this is like borderline efficient as solar panels are, which is saying something. Choke point in the middle of the map will become pivotal as well. Obviously, porking this entire area up with a bunch of static defense is always a very popular strategy. Oddly enough, and beyond a reason, the best way to pork up a defensive position like this isn't to put the defenses in the middle. It's to put it in a big concave around the outside right here. So you can see the surface area is like, I don't know, a third as small right here if you just take like the total length right here. It's about a third the length if you just pork all in the midsection here as opposed to going on the other side, We had a commander go down. A little bit of a commander trade over here. Not bad. That's the blue comm just trading out 1-to-1 here for the red commander, and I love to see it. It does, of course, mean that there's not really any way to contest this. Yeah, we have a con turret coming up right here, but that's wonderful. That's a 2,000 metal lead for the blue commander if we can get a resbot over there. Do we have one queued up? Or are we just going to... Oh, you know what we could do is pick up the construction turret. No, looks like we're just going to go ahead and send a resbot. We do have a resbot headed out here. Construction bot will move out to go ahead and build some of these metal extractors, but frankly, I feel like building the wind turbines is even more important here. Resbots will move out, though, and that'll be all the metal needed in order to contest all this. And suddenly the question on everybody's mind becomes, what do we do with all this land that we've now conquered here? I mean, there's nobody contesting this for the blue commander. There's a couple of really powerful options. You can always go into salamanders out of a T 1.5 Cortex amphibious laboratory.
Commander, self-destructed.
The amphibious gantry, capable of producing those salamanders, which can be very, very effective. Missile boats, a very early and cost-effective way of taking down these torpedo launchers, offshore torpedo launchers. Little repair command. No repair there. More worried about the boats right here. Not the end of the world, of course, and we will get the metal back, but it sucks to lose one of those. Those defenses are the only thing keeping these submarines out. And indeed, one of them for our brown hero here, Judge Power, will manage to sneak on by. Missile trucks just harassing. Being a nuisance right here, and there really isn't much better use for them. They kind of are relinquished to the role of poking away for all eternity. Now, okay, I mean, I don't mind this. We do have another laboratory built up right here. Obviously, though, if we just reclaim all this metal and put it into units, then we overwhelm this immediately. I mean, this is 2,000 metal. If we just put all that into units, I mean, that is instantly we've overwhelmed the entire army right here. I'm not sure why we've gone ahead and picked up the grave robber at this point. Where are our units going? Oh, we're building a metal storage back home. No unit production. I don't even think we need the... Oh, we just need to reclaim. Oh, no, don't tell me. This should have been the easiest lead of all time right here for the blue commander. Instead, he tried to resurrect for a little while and then failed to reclaim the other one. Built a metal storage instead of spamming out wind turbines and thugs. Finally, reinforcements start to come up right here. But again, we didn't have the wind turbines, so the energy economy just wasn't there. Okay. A critical blunder for sure. All of a sudden, the orange commander, by the way, Fluff, has gone ahead and gone into a little bit of a naval laboratory. Okay, not bad. We've got solar panels coming up on the back of this, and we do have the laboratory being eaten up here. So that metal's all going to turn into units that can now go forward. Geothermal is coming up here in just a minute or so as well. And the midsection is looking wonderful. The red team really having taken back this map from what looked like a tremendous lead in the early game. The blue team managed to clutch defeat from the jaws of victory as we move towards the more of a middle to, yeah, well, mid-game sort of a situation. And a very late mid-game. Navy is a lot slower to ramp up. Once it gets going, though, it does escalate pretty quickly, and usually it ends in 1 or 2 fights. And this is looking lovely. Yeah, we just got the submarines. There's no destroyers here, so these submarines have free reign. As soon as the torpedo launchers are down, there we go. I mean, okay. Submarines having a feast. Enjoying their breakfast of torpedoes and, or their breakfast of assault frigates, actually. Missile boats now just making their way down. Leisurely, I would say. Submarines not going to do much against hovercrafts, but likewise, hovercrafts not going to do much against submarines, and submarines are getting tons of damage. Love the construction boats here to reclaim all this. Wouldn't even mind seeing the metal extractors built up. By the time this all gets cleaned up here, it's going to take a while, and until there's destroyers on the field, those mexes are effectively untouchable. I mean, submarines can work too, but I wouldn't mind it. We never did get that halberd. Oh, we did get a halberd up. One halberd, but it's not going to be enough. Ugh, yeah, this is rough. Destroyer in the composition should be enough to shut down the submarine here that was produced. Well, and just like that, the Hot Pink Commander has made it all the way to the back line, and now we'll start breaking apart the base right here. The, well, purple base, and eventually maybe even the powder blue base. Depth charges, of course, firing away at whatever they can find as well. Metal extractors, well included on that list. Submarines also an obvious target, though. Elsa have been sent to try and clean out the rest of these intruders. I think with the help of these dolphins, eventually this all gets shut down. But my goodness. Hundreds and hundreds of metal worth of damage has been done here. And still, I mean, we have the submarines, but we still don't really have anything to properly deal with these enemy submarines that are coming forward. They've been chipping away at these LSAWs so brutally. They do about almost a quarter of an LSAW's health. I think it's probably like 20% of an LSAW's health per torpedo, making them stupid efficient against them. Yeah, we got one of the mechs. Why not go for all of them? Yeah, go for all 3. Easy 6 metal per second you can add back to your economy here. I cannot believe how effective this laboratory has been on the coastline right here. Just a simple laboratory with a little bit of build power spamming out those thugs has completely retaken this island. Oh, I see what we've gone for. Okay. So there's been a little bit of a tech investment. I don't mind this. Obviously, this would have been better with the backing of several thousand extra metal in the bank. But we have gone for some heavy tanks. We have turtles now rolling out of the front line. These got a little bit of a buff a couple patches ago. So they're quite a bit better than they used to be. Lining up to face off against these units. We need to start trading it out as quickly as we can. We have the geothermal just moments from completing as well here. This is going to be really useful for the team. Overflowing just hundreds of metal. Dolphins finishing what the submarines started. Submarines and the missile boats. I mean, how is this not an overwhelming victory for the red team? What phenomenal plays right here. The Orange Commander going into this little naval lab is so cute. This area was completely uncontested, and so it did mean that, yeah, there was basically no problem with Fluff going ahead and building all these units. Oh, are these all constructors? Oh, they're all construction ship wreckage. Yeah, those are all constructors lying at the bottom of the ocean here. You get a very close-up perspective of this skater. From this view, the skater looks menacing. From a slightly different view, not so much, I would say. With the introduction of the turtle, these forces were somewhat put back. Did we drop a T2 con here just to build the pitbull? We must have transported over a con just to build the pitbull right here. I love that. One pitbull against early T1 can essentially shut it all down. There's nothing these thugs can do against this. And all of a sudden, we could even build, like, construction turrets out here to reclaim all this. Wow. Okay. Holding on with a vicious tenacity here, buying so much time for the Orange Commander to continue exerting force on the right-hand side. Dozens of mexes are down, and you can see it's starting to become an eco opportunity here as the reclaimed submarines are starting to, well, eat up all that juicy metal. Oh, maybe not. Several thousand metal over here. I'd imagine we want to go ahead and claim that. We could even go for T2. I mean, at this point, there is enough resources. Pawns on the mainland. Not spread out functionally, so they aren't doing very much damage against the jellyfish. Oh, okay, there we go. Finally killing the jellyfish. The halberds are without energy. Man, destroyers are so late to the party. It's a giant fleet of Corsair at this point, so they are dangerous, and especially to those submarines, that you can suddenly lose lots and lots of metal in submarines going up against destroyers like this. But for the time being, as long as they're brawling and getting repaired and brawling again and trading out efficiently, it's not the end of the world. So we've continued thug production, but also kept the turtle production, which is curious. A little bit strange to see, I'll say. I feel like building just turtles makes a lot more sense here, not only because they're, well, quite powerful on their own, as you can see, doing quite a bit of damage and having, well, more importantly, a ton of health. They are also amphibious, of course, which means they could run past enemy lines or underwater past enemy lines, pop up on the enemy shoreline, and start doing a whole bunch of damage. Sheldon accidentally miscued to the front there. Turtles making very short work of the thugs. Not doing the most damage against the thugs, but also taking practically zero in themselves. They are very, very tanky. Nearly 5,000 metal, I believe, and one of these is at full HP. They're super, super tanky. I mean, as the name Turtle might imply, they're very, very good at just taking abuse. Hot Pink Commander backing backing Evil Steady 888 into a little bit of a corner over here. Yeah, there's the T2 lab. Okay. T2 Naval coming up and running right here. We really should start reclaiming. Oh, we are reclaiming. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so we've eaten up the entire right-hand side. Now the torpedo spewers are continuing to fire away. Just blasting at whatever they can find. Submarines, commanders, metal extractors, you name it. Commander's technically capable of firing away at these. Why aren't we shooting mechs? Not the end of the world. I will say, though, the destroyers here are going to eat these submarines for breakfast. Lunch and dinner, too. Yeah, the submarines are really good, but destroyers are purpose-built to shut these down. Slightly better target firing and maybe better spacing, and that fight might have gone ever so slightly differently. Oh, we need to jump on this destroyer. Or this battleship, I mean. Oh, this battleship cannot be allowed to live. Destroyers need to focus fire on that target. So many of them are dead, though. Yeah, we just don't have enough firepower here. Ugh. If those submarines have been targeted a little more carefully and enough of those destroyers survive to take this battleship, I would say that's the kind of trade that you can effectively turn into a comeback story. But the battleship gets away. It will go back to get repaired, no doubt. And now the destroyer, along with the other LSAs here in pink, will continue along the coastline to start harassing these metal extractors. Not bad. T2MX has been built right here for the blue commander, and we do finally have full-blown turtle production, but nowadays we actually have some rocket hovercraft firing away. Okay, very cheeky. I don't mind it, though. They can fire over this little mountaintop, which makes them very nice. A little spy camera right there on the hillside as well. Always love when we get a chance to view some of the things that don't get a whole lot of attention in this game, like the beloved Beholder, the perimeter camera. Very effective spying device. Very good for providing vision.
Commander destroyed.
Commander destroyed over here. That's the powder blue commander going down. Why do you have no navy, says blue. Unfortunately, the entirety of the navy was destroyed. Multiple times here. The submarines and then the units, I believe they were dolphins from the orange commander, Fluffy. Hero submarine. I will save my friends. Ugh. Submarine reduced to nothing but scrap at the bottom of the ocean here. Destroyers having a wonderful time. A relaxing, this is basically destroyer vacation here. They just get to sit back and enjoy destroying some tidal generators. Just kind of soaking in the experience. Yeah, just really enjoying the opportunity more than anything. Now we have the Despot, the heavy battleship here for Cortex. Weak against submarines. In fact, they are technically the direct counter. However, there's a single hero submarine in brown here that is going to be firing away to try and clear some of these up. In theory, anyways. Love the res subs. Trying to make the most out of this. There's a giant reclaim field. We really need to take advantage of that. We've gone heavily overboard on the res subs. We do have the laboratory pumping out units left and right. Man. What a beautiful push right here from the red commander, though. Breaking the lines over and over, using the resbots to resurrect or reclaim enough to just consistently make the difference. And well, there we go. The turtles alone, just not quite enough to save our blue hero, Baby Punji. His overwhelming forces now swarm forwards. I'm not sure why this laboratory wasn't turned on producing these turtles hours ago. Well, minutes ago. Turtles plus a couple of resbots should have been a GG situation here. The transport continually dropping Sheldons to their doom is so funny to me. Aikatsu trying to help out the teammate here, but it's so slow. Those heavy transports are not very effective. Really, their only superpower is the fact that they can pick up commanders. This is the slowest death I've ever seen in Beyond All Reason, but the blue team has absolutely lost it here. At this point, this match is well and away done. With 100% advantage in metal, 42% advantage in the energy, the entirety of the blue team has begun to crumble, and this game is as good as over. There are battleships now pushing through the midsection. We've got not one but two battleships. Torpedo bombers are nice. Don't think there'll be enough to shut all of this down, though, especially as soon as some flak comes out here. We have the Paladins for anti-submarine warfare as well as ship-to-ship warfare. They're remarkably efficient, actually. Their little laser beam and Gauss cannon. Fighting very, very nicely here. I mean, the battleships are pretty overextended. No, not with all the torpedoes that were here. And another battleship to reinforce as well. I like the idea with the LSA, just trying to sneak around as best as we can, but unfortunately, there just is not enough. The blue base is overwhelmed as well. We have a T2 laboratory coming up here. Resbots trying to reclaim as well. Oh, they're actually resurrecting. I think that's probably a misplay here. Destroyers go down. Could reclaim those to fund your operation. There's a lot to reclaim here, and none of it's being reclaimed. Resurrecting the mexes makes a lot of sense, but everything else should be reclaimed. We've got fusion reactors after fusion reactors. Loads of res subs repairing up all these paladins as well is very cool. Grunts running right on past. We've gone for mass swarm here, the red commander. Love the pitbulls here. I think the pitbulls were the winning condition over on this island. Before that, it was a little bit up in the air. The thugs versus thugs was a little bit of a cheesy, kind of a cheeky back and forth. But eventually, I think
Commander
the
destroyed.
pit bulls made all the difference because it meant that no damage could really be done against any of this. And then we never really made the proper transition, right? We never went into full-blown T2, either in the land or on sea. Either of those probably would have been the right idea, but instead more and more of those turtles came out, and they just didn't have enough damage to really seal the deal. Sending them around the sides might have been useful. But might-have-beens are long past us now. And I'm not even really sure what the blue team plans. We have torpedo bombers here. Oh, there we go. Torpedo gunship, so I guess they're a little bit more maneuverable. T2 fighters shooing those away. As now we have more and more of these paladins coming up. They're the stock standard, the bread and butter for Armada. They're kind of just the can-do all unit. But I don't see a win condition here for the blue team. Fluff going for some cheeky plays in the backline. There is a bulwark, so we have to be very careful about that. T2 is up and running as well. The only thing that might be efficient enough to stop this army at this point are the static defenses. Paladin's quite nice here, but 2 of them against 6 submarines. It's gonna be a pretty close fight. Barracuda, Hunter submarine, now up and running.
Commander destroyed.
Commander is destroyed. Trying to degun down the bulwark. Bulwark actually being repaired quite nicely here. Oh, just barely doesn't manage to kill the battleship. Yeah, indeed. We have reached GG. And I think this was a long time coming. The blue team just overwhelmed on that right-hand side. We're really not even really contesting the right-hand side. And it meant that overwhelming power just punched through right the middle of the map and then eventually on the right-hand side as well. It was just too many lanes for how much metal there was on the map, and denying all that resource as well. Had it been more heavily contested, maybe things would have gone differently. But the red team takes the win here today. And the orange, well, yeah, the orange player taking a massive lead. Thanks a ton for watching, folks. I sure hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again in the very next match of Beyond Reason. Peace out, everybody.